Hey, good evening. What would it be if you didn't have a few technical difficulties? Getting an echo from my phone here, which I thought was turned down. It's always something. No. Okay, hopefully we're going to be okay here. So good evening. So what we're doing tonight is I took a little trip with my friend yesterday to IKEA, my favorite place, one of my very favorite places. And I picked up a bunch of stuff, and I'm just going to show you a few of them tonight and do a little makeover on them. So let's get started. So a couple of the things that I picked up, and I'm going to, I'll wait a second to do that. So I picked up, all at IKEA, everything has Swedish names. So this is the Kaxholmen, okay? And it's just a little frame. And I think these were like $3.98. Really inexpensive. And then you open it up and you see why. It's all plastic. But we're going to elevate the look of this tonight. And we're going to make it elegant and suitable for anybody to want. We're going to make it very shabby chic. So I'm going to go ahead and add our overhead camera. And I think I can even move this over. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There, I can make that full screen. That's the whole thing. Okay. We'll get the hang of this. Full screen. Okay. I think I can make this one bigger. Yes, I can. I've done this. Okay, solo layout. There we go. Okay. So welcome to my experimentation. So anyway, what we're going to do is open this one up as well. And I'll show you how this comes apart. It took me a minute to kind of figure it out, but apparently the Swedish people are very intelligent. Good design. So you could move this thing this way if you wanted to use it that way, and you can hang it up anyway. But these little hooks just kind of open up, and that takes the back off. Okay, so that just lifts off. And then there's just a little, it is plastic. And we'll leave that on there. There's a protective covering on there, but we'll take that off when the time comes. I'd love to be able to zoom in on this. I don't know if I can or not. I'm gonna try it this way and see if that works. Okay, no. All right, well anyway, so right now the only part that we're gonna concern ourselves with is this part, and we're gonna grab the other one too. And take this one apart. So again, all we need to do is just clip those things or unclip them and open it up. I already took that one apart. So here's the two frames we're going to work on first. And we're just going to paint them. And hopefully my paint opens up nicely for me. I usually like to do that ahead of time, but I did not. So I'm going to have to go smack this jar around a little bit. I'm going to smack it on the table in a minute, so don't mind the noise or the shaking. Okay, be right back. I'm going to open my jar. All right, you didn't hear that big loud bang as I opened my jar. I always turn them upside down and smack them on the counter. That'll do it. Brushes. Let's see what we have here. So the paint we're using is silk mineral paint, all-in-one mineral paint. And we aren't using that camera at the moment. Okay. There we go. We're using silk, all-in-one mineral paint. Okay. And we'll just leave it like this. And once I get these frames painted, then I'm going to show you the other part of our DIY this evening. So the color I'm using is conch, and it's a beautiful pink. And Dixie Belle's silk is an all-in-one paint. It's got the primer in it, and it also has the sealer in it. So it's amazing stuff. If you come on, feel free to say hello. Tell me where you're from, what you're doing this evening. We are just painting. If you're just coming on, we're painting with Dixie Belle silk. We went to IKEA yesterday. I say we, my friend and I, and had a girls' day over in Pittsburgh, and went to my favorite store. And I could have spent a lot longer there. But there's always more opportunities. So I'm up for a road trip to IKEA almost any day. All right, so this is just one coat. I think you can see we got really good coverage on that, except for here where I missed. Okay, and then let's do our second frame. We may only need one coat on here, because we're also going to use some IKEA napkins and do a little decoupage. See how easy this paint goes on? It's self-leveling, so the brush strokes just disappear with it. You are supposed to do a little scuff coat, which I didn't do on these. And that means scuff sand, rather. That means just a little, just barely wipe it with a I keep wanting to say a low grit sandpaper, but like a 220 grit, a fine sandpaper is what I'm trying to say. If you've been missing our everyday videos, you learned something new, kind of had to stop those for a while, have some other projects going on. So they may come back. Not really sure about that. So let me know if you like you learned something new and if you want to see that back again. Okay, let's check our coverage on this. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna try to make some room here. Well, that didn't take it long to get us long at all to get a couple coats on there. Now, normally when I decoupage, I like to use a sealer from Dixie Belle, like the satin or the flat or the gloss sealer. Usually I don't use gloss for decoupage, but the satin or flat will work. But I don't have any here, so I am substituting. We're using some fabric glue that I actually kind of watered down. So we're going to give that a try and hope for the best. But let's look at these napkins that I got from IKEA. So here's the first one. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these But I like this one. I'm going to open these up because I want to see the full patterns on these. I just knew I liked them. Such an inexpensive way. My idea for these was for drawers. This is an inexpensive way to update your furniture. Oh, and do I have exciting news? Speaking of updating furniture and drawers and all that, Dixie Belle is coming out with transfers and also decoupage paper. I'm so excited about it. It's gorgeous. Okay, so here is what this sheet looks like. I think this would be really pretty, boy, on drawer sides or fronts of drawers, almost anything. You could paint in the leaves if you wanted to, or you could uh, do a transfer over top of it or something, do a little pop of color. I just think this really pretty one. And this one I don't need to unwrap because I think you can see that it is just, simple polka dots, green polka dots. Okay. And then this is the one that I'm most excited about. Smaxine. These are, I did try to pronounce that one, I'm sure not properly, but I'm going to open this one up and let's take a look at these. I do have the hairdryer here. We might have to put the hairdryer on the project, and I think it might need a second coat. As it's drying, I can see that it's, maybe you can see there that it's not full coverage, so I wanted to open this carefully so that I didn't damage it. Oh, okay, so I have a couple napkins here. But I'm going to open it up, and whenever you decoupage, you want to get rid of all the extra plies in the napkin. So if it's 4-ply, then you're going to get rid of 3 sheets. If it's 2-ply, you're going to get rid of another sheet. Let me see if these say how many ply they are. 3. And that is apparently an international symbol for 3-ply. It showed 3 sheets and the number 3. So there's 1 and 2. So here's my 3 sheets. So we'll just get rid of the other 2. And then this is the 1-ply that we'll be working with. Okay. So I'm just going to set that aside. And I'm going to grab the dryer here and dry off these frames. This paint dries really quickly as it is, and it dried super quick on these frames. So I'm gonna put another coat on. And I also have some gemstone mousse here in golden gem. So maybe we can run a little bit of that on this like beaded part to give it some accent. So it's only Tuesday. I hope your week is going well. We had a gorgeous day here in central Pennsylvania in the 60s. Love it. This is the first day that it's been in the 60s. this spring, or this almost spring season. So that's pretty exciting. Love the warm weather. Definitely missed it. I don't know about you, but the older I get, the less I like winter. Okay, it's a good thing I'm doing a second coat because I missed a spot, I see. Okay, I think we got that the whole way around. Trying to look against the light here. Okay, and again, I'm using silk all-in-one mineral paint, and the color is conch. I very confidently say conch, although some people call it conch. I guess there's two ways to say it, but rather than have that discussion all the time, which I ended up having it anyway, I've just been saying conch. Conch shell. That's what they say in Florida. Okay, so we have our second coat of that on. Now, what I'm going to do, I can get the dryer again, but what I'm going to do is just kind of set that aside, and I'm going to take the napkin here and cut some of these images out. So I'll cut around, and then I'll get in close and do a little trimming. Now, that's the one thing about transfers. You don't have to worry about cutting out, although you can. But with the napkin, you definitely want to cut out around your image. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Some people like to actually kind of tear. It depends on what your design is. But I'm going to work at just trimming it. I just thought this design was beautiful. If you've never been to IKEA, I just love it. With the floor you enter on, it has the marketplace, which is just kind of like you just go just like a regular store with a cart and pick things up. But if you go upstairs, there's this, everything's all set up into rooms, and it's really amazing. This light might be too bright. Okay. But yeah, they had some really cool, I think I'm going to do a video on it because I took a little bit of video. But they have some gorgeous vignettes set up, the rooms that are just all set up and ready to go. Just really cool. I say ready to go like I could live in one. They show them all decked out with accessories and TVs and everything. They definitely make you want the product. And they did some beautiful styling. Colors were gorgeous. Very smart use of color. I was really impressed with the design and everything. So it's a lot of the furniture at IKEA is it's you have to put it together yourself, which explains why it's not super expensive. Some of it's kind of plastic, um, but you can get some really nice pieces as well. Now, if you cut into something here and it isn't perfect, that's okay. I guess I'm not doing that on camera. Um, but you're just trying to basically cut it out. I mean, there's so many little details on there. I'm not worrying about every little silly line there. No one knows what the leaf looks like exactly. You're just cutting out the basic. You want to get rid of the white. I could try to tear this image out. I might do better. Let's see. Let's see what happens if I do that. And again, I'm forgetting to make sure I'm in the camera. There's going to be a little white in there, and because it's one ply and we're gluing it, it will become a little bit transparent. We're getting there, see? I just don't want this corner here. I'm going to go back to the scissors. I don't think I'm doing that great with the tearing. And I'm just going to get rid of everything around there and just leave this flower. We have a lot of leaves, so we'll get rid of that leaf too. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of this extra in here. So I think I told you this last week, but I'm going to be working on a project with some other ladies that are Dixie Belle retailers, and we're going to be doing a really, really cool project. We're going to collaborate, and we're picking paint colors for each other, and a couple of us are teaming up, and we're going to do it one way. We're going to do it our way, and then you get to compare and see all of the different videos and see how everybody did it their way. So really cool project I'm excited to be part of. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the hair dryer again. I'd like to cut some more of that, but I don't know how many pieces I'm gonna need. I probably should cut another one. I should probably get some of this blue in here, but maybe we'll just do one of the frames with the decoupage tonight. Let's see, we've been on 26 minutes, or 24 minutes rather. And again, I'm not being perfect at all. Nowhere near. Okay, I love this little rosebud here. I'd love to get that in there. I think I'm going to trust that the napkin's going to go a little transparent. So it's a lot of detail there. I'm going to come back and get it a little bit closer, but just trying to get it, most of it cut out for now. Okay, so that's the other motif. So we have two designs cut out. So that should be enough for one. So I'm going to go ahead and dry the frames again. If we decide to do the second one, then I'll go ahead and cut another one out. But wow, they dried beautifully, really fast. Okay, so I really, really hope that this glue works for me. It's like some fabric glue. Okay, and I'm just gonna lay this on here and kind of dry fit it, see how I want it to look. We'll lose most of that leaf if we do this, but that looks really pretty on there. And then we've got this. So I was careful with all that cutting that I was, obviously we're losing a lot of our motif, but that's okay. Some of it will wrap around the side. And we can take some of this leaf. I'm just going to cut this. We can take some of that leaf and put it up here. So let's do that. Like I said, this glue is watered down fabric glue, so not exactly sure what to anticipate with it, but I'm going to paint the frame with the glue rather than do it the other way around. Put it on the napkin. The napkins seem pretty stable as far as they're very papery. So I'm just going to kind of put it on there and then lift up and get underneath there. A lot of glue lumps that didn't get watered down. Oops. Okay, we lost some of that leaf. That's okay. We're losing a lot of it. It'll still look fine. I have no doubts. Okay, so we're gonna flip this part of the design over on there, and you want to try to get it as smooth as possible. And I have to get more glue underneath this section. Okay, so basically we are just painting it on with glue. just want to work on one area, one surface at a time. And we're just going to make sure this part, this flat part, is down. And then we'll worry about this section. We'll just tuck that in there because that's actually going to get cut off. But we want it to be smooth. We'll just pick this up and do the same thing on the side. So make sure everything's down. And I'm just going to trim off this extra stuff off the back, this excess. Not being real particular. If you've noticed before, I never am really particular about anything because it's art and it just happens. Okay, I have a lot of extra glue there that I don't necessarily want. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this motif that we have cut. Now it's sticking to my thumb. And just kind of do that area. And the white part does not get totally transparent at all. So what I can do, well, it is a little bit. It's kind of good enough for me. What I can do is go back in with the paint too if I want to touch up over a part that didn't look good. But I actually don't really see too much white. Okay. All right, so I did that one side. So we have that going on. And we could add some more over here. This is dry, so I can just lay it down on here. Or we could just make it on the bottom part. Why don't we do that? Why don't we just put this other flower over here? This is obviously going to get lost, but I'm just going to put this other flower down on this side. Okay, so we glue that part down first, the flat part, and then come back and glue this other stuff down. And this part in here is going to get cut, maybe torn. Okay, so want to make sure you have all your ends down. And this stuff's pretty delicate. You don't want to keep overworking it. So just get it down, especially not with this glue, I guess. Maybe if I had my Dixie Belle sealer, I'd be doing better with that. But right now, I'm just, like I said, I can't afford to touch it too much because it just gets kind of weird. It'll kind of disintegrate a little bit. So don't want to overwork it, but it is nice and smooth. And the dry coat, the dry glue is it's the clear coat as well. So it's your glue to glue it on, and then it's also your sealer. So if you have a different sheen than you have on the rest of the piece, you might want to go over it and cover that, but I'm just going to kind of feather it in a little bit to the rest of the piece because I love the way the silk paint looks. Okay, so let's see. Let's let that dry a little bit on its own, but then I'll take the hairdryer to it. And then we'll do our last step to it. But we'll go ahead and cut a few more pieces out and do the other frame. And we'll just get them totally put together. So this is a great big motif. So let's get this cut out and see how we can position it on the frame. Again, I realized before I was spending so much time cutting, forgetting that not all this detail is going to go on here. So I think I'm just going to worry about getting this cut around a little detail. So it's wise to what they call dry fit things on. And I'm going to come up here. So we got that. So we don't need to worry about all that area. And I'm just going to get this area up top here. So those are really the only areas that need cut out. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, I think that's going to work. This stuff in here is going to get cut out. And that other stuff will go away, but let's go ahead and do most of this side here. I'm just using an old paintbrush here. If you're just tuning in, we are upcycling IKEA frames and using IKEA napkins to decoupage on them. We're using Dixie Belle's silk mineral paint, all-in-one silk mineral paint in comb. Okay. And if I had my way, I would be using Dixie Belle Sealer as my decoupage glue, but I didn't have any at home. So I watered down some fabric glue that I had here. And as you see, I still have some lumps in some places, but I'm just going to fold this in. I'm going to tear some of this away. I want to get that detail because there's those little dots in there. Now get the rest of this from the back side. Just kind of pulling some of that away. Of course, it's sticking to me. Okay, and I have the side down here. I'm going to pull the excess away. It's sticking to me. This glue is super sticky. It's supposed to be a temporary tack for basting, like it's instead of basting. It really works. I used it on a pair of jeans, but I have to go back in now and hem them up again, so I may have to see how difficult it is to remove it. Okay, so taking off some of that excess off the back. And I want to make sure everything's smoothed down. That's just an extra piece. Use your fingers to come along and make sure it's smooth. Your fingers are going to get sticky, but it's a good way to get it down. Because you don't want any lumps or loose pieces in it. That takes away the beauty of the decoupage. So decoupage, when you seal over it, it's just kind of looks like it's just something that was painted on your piece. Okay, so we have that. I'm gonna hold these two up together, which way we do them, but in comparison, it looks like this one needs a little bit more. So we'll put that, or not that one. This one needs a little bit more. So I'm just gonna find another flower of some sort here. This will be a good area. I'm just gonna tear it apart here. See, I was real picky at first, and now I got way less particular, right? Okay, so this is pretty. I like the leaf. Scissors are a mess. But there's like 2 leaves in there. Just gonna kind of cut around where I want. And okay, so that part is not going to be seen. All right, so let me put some glue down here. All right, let's lay this down here. I didn't really cut out as much there as I should have, probably. This is sticky glue. Okay, so we're just going to brush the rest of it down. Work on that flat surface first, and then brush the rest of it down. Working in those little grooves, getting it to the back. Make sure you're keeping it nice and smooth. You can go over it with your fingers. And I pulled some off there, and that's okay. If I can get the napkins off my fingers now. Put a little more glue on there. I'm going to use the scissors this time to get these scraps. Just kind of pull them around to the back. Okay, one more thing I want to do. I don't like the way that kind of looks. I don't know if you can see, I kind of like did a straight edge there. Didn't really mean to do that. So I'm just going to get a little part of a flower. Get some detail. You want the detail to be against the plain paint. So I'm just going to take this flower here, this bright flower, cut it out, and let that be our little cover up. Yeah, that'll work. So should have decent amount of paint here, or glue rather. There we go. That did the job, right? That just kind of transitioned that little area right there. So I'm gonna take one more little push down with that glue. Make sure it's down in the back. Want everything to be smooth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the dryer on these real quick, because the last thing we want to do is take a little bit of the gemstone mousse in golden gem and give it some highlight and put our frames together, and we'll be done. I'm going to focus on one of them. This one still, I'm going to let dry naturally. And you know, when they're all done and they're all dry, you can go back in with a little really light sandpaper and do a little distressing on it if you want. I'm going to take some of this gemstone mousse in the golden gem, and use my brush handle here and just give it a quick stir. You always want to stir this stuff because it can seem like it's all dried up, and it's not. It's amazing stuff. Okay, so again, I am using gemstone mousse in golden gem, and I'm gonna get it off my brush handle first here. But watch what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take it over those little gold bumps in here. Yeah, well, they're gold now, but just the little bumps along the edge of the frame. And that's just going to give us enough little bling, bling, bling to just set this project off. And you can pull back a little if you have too much. I'm just going to go over it with my other finger here. Just going to take a dry piece of the napkin here. kind of pull that back a little. I think it turned out really, really pretty. And of course, as always, if you go on my social media, tomorrow we'll show the finished pieces. But I'm pretty impressed with them. We'll get the backs here. I have one that is all peeled. We'll go ahead and put the back in there. Maybe we'll put a picture in it tomorrow so you can see it, but that's what it looks like. Okay. So I think these are really pretty. I think they're definitely an upgrade from how they looked when I bought them. So I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And feel free to share this video, comment. All of that stuff is great for our channel, helps our channel grow. All right. Have a great night. Bye-bye.